So moving, forward, I think there are some like mantras that you live life by, some words of wisdom that you've picked up, and maybe just a cadence that you walk through life with. I'd love
Yeah.
to hear kind of your backdrop and your thoughts on, just health, wealth, relationships, the most important things that
Yeah.
for you make your world go round.
Yeah, well, I think one of the things I've struggled with in life is the life work balance, and that's something that I with this opportunity with Lotus, I was 85% travel before I moved to Puerto Rico. So I've been to the Middle East 4 times. I was in Bahrain, in Saudi, I was in Jeddah, Riyadh, Daman, in the UAE, I was in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Just got back from Muscat, Oman. So those are taxing trips, right? Because you're talking about 15 hours. I was flying from Dallas direct, on Emirates. It's a 15-hour ride, and it takes you a couple of days to sort of acclimate. So I try to move every day. If it's in a hotel gym, that's okay. If it's a heavy walk in the morning or something like that, but I try to move every day, and that's been important. It's really hard to focus on nutrition when you're traveling. So that's just something that that box doesn't get checked very well, because you're eating local fare or whatever the case is, and you're entertaining. So that's challenging. But I think I'm doing okay in the health space. I invest a lot of money in the wealth space, and when I say wealth, I'm talking about wealth of knowledge, wealth of experiences. In addition to those trips that I went on. We like with my brother Chris, we climbed Kilimanjaro when I was in my 30s, and every decade I try to do something really uncomfortable and a little bit epic to sort of push my comfort zone. And I think it really helps because the people you meet on those trips can change your life. I mean, from a knowledge perspective, I'm sort of a voracious reader, or I should say audible guy, because I try to consolidate my exercise. And I'm in the middle of Lifestyle Investor right now. I think I recommended to you Gap and Gain by Dan Sullivan, which I love. I'm a history
Great
major.
book.
It's a great book. I'm a history major, and so I love David McCullough's stuff like 1776, John Adams, Brooklyn Bridge. Those are great. But I'll also mix it up. Like I like Scott Galloway, right? I like The Algebra of Happiness. I did Post Corona. I've got Adrift in my library right now, which is latest, which I think should be strong. There's one I recommend, History of Sketch Comedy with Keegan Michael Key, which is a cool one. If I'm looking for something light, I'll listen to that. But I also I don't know if you know Peter Zehan, the futurist.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the end of the world is just the beginning. He's got a really interesting, it's about a 30-minute podcast on the next 5 years. I don't know if you've seen that, but
I have. Yeah.
okay. It's very contrarian, and he's sort of this, Socratic thinker on how he throws down what I think is the opposite of what a lot of people are talking about, but it's spot on. So, I like that as a history major. I think history to me is psychology and philosophy of how people are going to behave in the future, right? Typically. But that's it. I think, like we talked about, that's wealth to me. And I think money is a byproduct of working hard and getting in front of the right people and always trying to better yourself. And after wealth and health, I think relationships is probably the most important thing. And by the way, if you don't fill the health bucket, you'll blow up your wealth and your relationships because you won't be able to participate. And so, I think relationships, although it comes last on my list of stuff, it's equally as important, just sort of from that tripod. And for me, relationships, my brother and I talk about this thing called the last chat. And you could look at the last chat as, what's the last conversation you're having with your best buddy on your deathbed? Or what's the conversation that your two closest friends have after you pass? And that's, you want to check the box, was I a good person? Right deep down when no one's looking, was I a good person? Did I have good relationships, really strong relationships with people? And what did I love, and was I loved by others? And I think, if you can check those 3 boxes, I think that's really where you've made it, and you've made a difference on the planet. These are, those are kind of lofty goals and what have you, but they're top of mind for me from a mantra perspective, right? So when I'm making decisions, am I hanging out with the right people? Are these good people for me to be spending time with? And what am I going to benefit them? Are they going to benefit me? And so those are things that are really important to me from that perspective.